go. Okay. So today we'll pick up how to find the mean, median, and mode of a grouped frequency table. Okay, so here we know there's 20 numbers that are between 0 and 5, but you don't know what they are. They could be any combination of numbers that are smaller than, less than or equal to 5, but greater than 0. Okay, and there's 20 of them. So when you have a grouped frequency table, you're going to, the modal class is simply the interval that has the biggest frequency. Okay, so you're going to look for the class with the largest frequency, which in this case is this class that has 33 items in it. So my modal class is that interval. All right, now to find the mean of from an interval table, in order to find how much all of the numbers there's 20 numbers in here you got to add up. There's 33 numbers in this one you got to add up. But you don't know what the individual numbers are in there. So when that's the case, what we do is we use the midpoint of the interval. So I know there's 20 numbers in this first interval. I'm going to treat all those numbers as if they were 2.5. The 33 numbers that are in here, I'm going to treat those like they're 7.5. And the 4 numbers that are in this one, I'm going to treat like they're 12.5. Okay. So what I have is I've got 20 2.5s. Okay, so I got to multiply those out. So to get this last column here is just the frequency times the midpoint. Okay, and then the next one, the frequency times the midpoint. And the frequency times the midpoint. Okay, so that's what I get here. Okay, so we're gonna treat, so this was the sum of the 20 2.5s, the sum of the 33 7.5s. So now we'll find the sum of this column. So that's going to be 100 plus 247. And then the number of items that we have is going to be the sum of this column, which was 57. And then we do that division. Divided by 57. And if I went to 3 places, let's see, 096, 6.10. And that would be orange per pack. Okay, now what you're going to see is that's not the same as what we got when we did it on the spreadsheet. Okay, so this average here is not going to agree with this average. because we used the midpoint. So there's no other, you can't get any more accurate because you don't have enough information. You don't know what the individual numbers are. When we made this chart with the spreadsheet, we knew what the individual numbers were. But if we're just taking the data off of a group frequency table, we don't. Okay.
Mr. Krolak?
Yes.
If
Go ahead.
the spreadsheet doesn't use the midpoint, then what does it use?
If this doesn't use the midpoint, say that again?
If the spreadsheet doesn't use the
Oh,
what does it use?
the spreadsheet actually used, so when we did the spreadsheet, we knew what the 20 numbers were that were in here. So if we had the spreadsheet, remember we had a big long list of everybody's result. Okay, so let's see. Let me show you here real quick. Good question. If it doesn't use the midpoint, then what does it use? Okay, I'll show you. Let's do this. And I think this was it. All right, we're talking about oranges. Okay, so if you look at this list right here, okay, so I'm gonna copy this list. Let's see, the oranges. So I'm gonna go control, no. Okay, let's go control shift, down arrow. Okay, and then I'm going to control C. All right, so if I took all those numbers right there, and I put them, I'm just going to paste them right here, but I'm going to put them in order. Okay. So I'm going to take this list, and now I'm going to sort it. So data, sort. There you go. All right, zoom out, view. Okay, so there's 57 numbers on this list. Okay, there, okay. Now, if you went, what the numbers that are between 0 and 5, you see there's 20 of them. So if I counted up these numbers all the way up to here, okay, there's 20 numbers in there. So when we did the spreadsheet and we did the mean, we added all these numbers up. Okay, we knew what the individual numbers were that were in that class. Okay, so if I just add up all these numbers here, so if I just went sum, okay, now I'm just going to do the first 20 numbers here. So I'm going to go equals sum. Now I'm going to do these 20 numbers right there. Okay. Okay, the first 20 numbers add up to 74 because I know what they are. I know there's a 1, I know there's like 4 2s in there, I know there's 3 3s. What we did, when you get a histogram, the table doesn't tell you what the individual numbers are in this class. Okay? So in this class right here, we don't know, from this information right here, we don't know the makeup of these 20 numbers. So I could have 19 4s and I could have 1 5. That would add up to 20. So this chart right here doesn't give you the details that we had when we were looking at the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet had the individual, it told us what numbers were in that first interval from 0 to 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you don't, the spreadsheet can't do it if you only have classes.
If the spreadsheet, I see. So, yeah, if you were just given the classes, let's say that you didn't have this list of data here, then when you just know the classes, you don't know what the numbers are to add up between these. Okay? So, like this one here, the last one. There's 4 numbers between 10 and 15. Okay, so if we scroll down here, let's see, 10 and 15 orange. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a minute. This is bigger than 10, less than 15. So we don't count the 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this last one, we know because of the data list that we got 2 11s and 2 12s. But if you're not given the data list, you have no way of knowing that from the table. Okay, I don't know what the makeup is of these numbers. It could have been 3 11s, a 14 and a 15. Could have been 2 12s and a 13 and a 14. So when you just have this table, when you don't know the individual numbers in here, you use the midpoint to represent the numbers that are in there. That's why your answers are going to be an approximation. Is that okay? Does that, you have cleared up or not really?
Yeah, so what I got from that was just you can't use the spreadsheet unless you know the individual numbers.
No, you still can use the spreadsheet, but you would just be using the midpoints instead. So you can do all of this that we could do on the spreadsheet, but if I had all the individual numbers, I would never use the midpoint because the midpoints would be inaccurate. But if I don't have the individual numbers, let's say that you just had this. That's all you had on your spreadsheet. Well, you could still find the mean and stuff, but your mean is going to equal what we got down here. So I could still use my spreadsheet to do these. I just don't know the individual values. So I would do 33 times 5.5, 4 times 10.5.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Okay, so now for the median, assuming, I just put this up here so that we could compare what we get when we use the midpoint to what it actually was. All right, so here we do the same thing, but now we want to find the median. Okay, so we're going to keep a running total of how many numbers we've counted. So we got our midpoints here, so 2.5, 7.5, 12.5. Okay, now my cumulative frequency is using these. So my first number is 20, and then my second value is going to be 20 plus 33. And then my last one is going to be 53 plus 4, 57. Okay, now what the cumulative frequency is telling you is that this class contains the first through the 20th number. Okay, the second class, 5 to 10, contains the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, dot, 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 until you reach the 53rd number. And then my last class would contain the 54th number, the 55th, 56th, and the 57th number. So this is the position of the numbers that are in each one of these. The first 20 positions are going to be between 0 and 5. The 21st number to the 53rd number is going to be numbers that are between 5 and 10, and so on. All right, now we know that there's 57 numbers, so the median is the 29th number, or the 29th value. Okay, so to find what that median is, you find the class that has the 29th number in it. Okay, so that class would be the second one right here. That class has the 29th number. You fall asleep? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Well, that or you're falling out of your sleep, out of your chair conscious, which is kind of weird. Okay. Yeah.
Why is this the 29th number?
Because there is 57 numbers in this list. So if we put all the values in order, we go 57 plus 1 divided by 2, that's 29. So I would count, think of it like this way, if there was 57 people standing in line to get tickets, the 29th person would be the median in that line. Okay, so this class contains the 29th number. Okay, therefore its midpoint is the median. So our median would be 7.5. Okay. So that's how you get the mode, the mean, and the median when you're given a or a grouped frequency chart. Okay, so anytime we have one of these, we're using midpoints. You're going to use midpoints to represent the values in any given class. Okay? Alrighty. Okay, so if you're given a histogram and you're asked to find what's the mode, what's the mean, what's the median, but now you just have a histogram. Well, a histogram is no different. It's the same as a grouped frequency. So what we just did, we're going to do again. Same as group frequency chart, except it's a graph. All right, so to get the modal class, see, I got 3 classes. I've got a 10 to 15 that has 14 items in it. Then you got the 15 to 20 bucket. That's got 31 items in it, so that's your modal class. 15 to 21. And you got your 20 to 25 bucket. And your 25 to 30 bucket. Whoops. And while we're doing that, this is going to be the same as it was up here. All right, so to get the median and the mean, we're going to have to use the midpoints again. So here's my midpoints. Okay, and now I'm going to multiply F in the midpoint. So the frequencies times the midpoints. Okay, so let's see, frequencies. And now I'm going to add up all those guys. And over here, I know my frequency is 57. So divide that, 57, and there's my mean. Yes. Mm-hmm. 17.4. Okay, now get the median. You're going to use the cumulative frequency, find out which class it's in, and then you're going to use that midpoint. All right, so cumulative frequency, this is going to be 14, and then I've got 14 plus 31, okay, that's 45, and you got 45 plus 11, 56, and you got 56 plus 1, 57. Okay, now the 29th number. Okay, what class is it gonna be in? Okay, this is the first to the 14th number. And this one here is the 15th through the 45th number. So it's going to be in that class. Okay. So the median is the midpoint of the class that contains the median. Okay. The class that contains the median is between 15 and 20, and the midpoint is 17 and a half. So that's my median. Okay. So yesterday, did we do this first page? Yes? That was a yes? Okay. Okay. But we didn't do anything on the second? Okay. Can we do, I'm sorry, would you ask? Did you?
No, I said we did number 3.
On this page?
Yes.
Okay, with coffee. Yeah, we did the first one. Okay. All right. Okay, so your paper. Okay. All right. So what I'll do now is this is what we did yesterday. This is doing it by hand. There's a lot of glare there. Okay, where we had to find the average. Okay, now you can do all these as well, just using the using your calculator as well. Okay. All right. So if we were doing number 4, okay, on number 4, it's asking you how many tomatoes he had. So in this is going to be the same as the sum of the frequency. So 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 10 plus 15 plus 4 plus 5. So 10, 26, 41, 50. Okay, now it's asking for the modal number. So let's see, the biggest frequency is 15. So the number of tomatoes associated with those is 8. Okay, and now the question's asking what's the mean number of plants? Well, we know what the bottom is. That's the frequency, which is going to be, in this case, 50. And then the top is going to be the sum of the tomatoes times the frequency. So I'm just going to put TF. So 3 times 2 plus ran out of space there. So now you have to multiply all those out and add them up. Okay, now let me show you how to do it on your calculator, which will do all of this for us. Okay, so you're going to open up your calculators and you're going to press the key that says stat on it. Okay, so hit stat, and you're going to just choose number 1 where it says edit. Okay, if there's anything in there, clear it out. So I just highlight L2, clear. Now I got to highlight L1 and clear. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the values in L1 and the frequencies in L2. Come on, clear. There we go. All right, so from this chart right here, L1 is going to be the number of tomatoes. So I got 3. Okay, and then the second column, I'm going to turn into my frequencies. Okay, so on our calculator, this became L1 and this became list 2. Okay, now we can calculate all the stats that we want. So you're going to press stat, calculate, choose one variable statistics, hit enter, and list 1 should be filled in. It should say list 1 is your data. Now, if the frequency list doesn't have a number or a letter next to it, you're going to go enter. And to make that L2, I'll show you where the L2 is on your calculator. Let's see, make this bigger. Okay, L2 is right down here above the number 2. So to get L2 in there, I go second 2, and it puts an L2 in. Okay, then hit enter, and there's all your stats. Okay, so what you're looking at here okay, this question's asking you for the mean. Okay, so the mean is that first value up there. The second value, the 354, that's what you would have gotten if you added these up. Okay, so this would have given me now an average of 7.08. Now this gives you a lot of other information. We'll talk about that later, but if you just use the down arrow, you got your how many tomato plants, 50, then you got your first quartile, your median, your third quartile, and your max. Excuse me. These other things are standard deviations and variance, which we're doing next. Okay, so let's say you were going to do an interval chart on your calculator. So if I was going to do number 6, okay, so 6 is an interval chart, so I know on intervals I'm going to use the midpoint. Okay, so my midpoints are going to be 5, 15, 25, 35, and 45. And the question's asking you to find what's the average number of tips. So you could, right now, you could do it all on your calculator. Let the midpoints be L1 and let the frequencies be L2. So on my calculator, this becomes pretty easy to do. Stat. Edit. Okay. I'm going to clear this list. So I highlight the number and then I just hit clear. Okay, then I'm going to highlight the other guy. If I can get my calculator to move. Come on. There we go. Clear. Gosh, come on, guy. Clear. Okay, put your midpoints in L1, put your frequencies in L2, and do the exact same thing. Looks like I got issues because I can't clear my list. See if I can just write over it. So I'm going to do 5. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to make my frequencies L2. Ay, ay, ay. 2, 8, 15, 14, 6. There we go. Stat, calc, 1 variable statistics. And it's already got my numbers. List 1 is my midpoints. List 2 are my frequencies. Okay, so my average is going to be 21.89 cents. So you can do either one of these on your calculator. If you're doing a histogram or a group frequency chart, you're going to use the midpoints. All right, last one here. So a histogram represents the ages in a village. How many people live in the village? So the height of each, that's 40 people. Between 20 and 40, there's 60 people. Between 40 and 60, 80 people. Then that looks about 30. And that looks 10. Okay, so we got 220 people there. Okay, the modal class is 40 to 60. Okay, and now I'm gonna do my average. Okay, so if I wanted to do, I could do it on my calculator, or we know there's 220 people. And now what I'm using is the midpoints. So I got 40. I'm using the people in this class have an age of 10. The next class, which is 60 people, it's got an age of, let's see, 20 to 40. So its midpoint is 30, and so on. Okay, so 80. And this is half, 40 to 60, so half of that's 50, plus 30. Okay, 60 plus 80, half of that's 70. And then between 85 and, or 80 and 100, I'm going to use 90. Let's see, did I, 70, 90, yeah. And there's 10 of those. Ten times 10. There it is. Yes, it would. Thanks. Okay, so 70, 50, so there's 10 people that are between 80 and 100, and we're using the midpoint. So we ended up with 41.8 years on that. Okay, anybody out in you distance folks have questions?